Yo, what's going on, guys? TymeStopper here, coming at you with your key to 3,000 winter tickets per hour. That's right. In this video, I am going to discuss not only how you can get yourself 3,000 tickets per hour, but how you can also increase your reperk, your epic perk up, and your legendary perk up all at the same time. But before we do get into the video, I would like to remind you guys I do stream over on Twitch every Monday through Friday, starting at about 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you'd like to discuss these strategies or others, or just want to hang out with some amazing Save the World players, I'll go ahead and put a link to my channel in the video description down below. So let's just jump into the video. Now, I know many of you are trying desperately to get as many tickets as possible so that you can get any weapons or heroes you might be missing from the Dragon set. There's also a lot of folks out there that are trying to get dupes for the collection book. So that's why I've kind of put this guide together. Now, keep in mind, I do realize this is not the only way to gain tickets, but after lots of trial and error by people who are way smarter than I am, this seems to be the preferred method to get them as quick and consistent as possible. Now, the way we are actually going to be focusing on in this guide to get those tickets is going to be by doing dungeons. Yes, I know, those dungeons. Now, if I'm being honest, I kind of thought the same thing when this method was first brought to my attention. While I do like the look of the dungeons, they have never really been my personal favorite type of mission to do. That is until some folks in the stream kind of pointed out that I can get around 3,000 tickets per hour or 6 llamas worth. So I kind of changed my tune a little bit. I think you might too. Now, that is a ton of tickets. And keep in mind, I don't care how many missions you jail build or how many resupplies or eliminate and collect missions you try to run through. You'll never get that many per hour. Plus, keep in mind that those alerts are going to dry up. With these, they're always available to you. So you could do some of those alerts if you want to, but you can always run these at any point. Now, there's a ton of different ways, of course, that you can attack these dungeon ticket runs. But we found is most successful is by doing the Inferno dungeon on the 88 power level. Now, this is going to give you the most consistent runs since the path is always the same while ensuring your teammates stay alive to help you speed things along. I'd like to tell you that doing the higher level dungeons makes a difference. Unfortunately, the tickets just don't scale well enough for me to encourage you to go out and do the 100 or, for that matter, even the 140 dungeons, in my opinion. But that's entirely up to you. Now, of course, if after doing several of these runs, you find that you can do the 100 level dungeons in the exact same amount of time as the 88, by all means, have at it. But make sure that you can do it in the same amount of times as the 88. Otherwise, you're just hurting your ticket production. Now, so we know we're going to be running the Inferno dungeon, but how are we going to be doing it? Let's first talk about the team setup. We're going to be using 3 die-cast Jonesy soldiers. Now, the loadout should look something like this. In the commander spot, you are going to have die-cast Jonesy, of course, with his boomstick. He's going to give you the increased damage on going commando, as well as changing your ability type to energy, which I'll explain more why that's important in just a minute. Now, you're also going to be running the new team perk Happy Holidays, of course, my favorite. In support, you are going to have Ted with his first cup of the day. That's going to give you the extra crit damage while going commando is active, doing a little extra DPS. You're going to also have Commando Spitfire for that extra minigun cooldown time. Now, you are going to also use Azalea Clark for her increased energy damage from abilities. Since you changed the minigunning to energy with diecast earlier, this is going to really help out. You are going to use Fleet for some extra speed while running through the dungeons, and you're also going to be using Colonel Wildcat for the extra Warcry duration cooldown. Now, your fourth and most important member of the team is going to be your runner. Your runner should look something like this. Now, first in commander, you're going to have Recon Scout Jess, because she does give you extra distance on your phase shift as well as extra movement afterwards for up to 3 seconds. You're going to be running the Blast from the Past team perk, so in support, you're going to need 2 Dino heroes. We went with Prehistoric Isa for her extra armor, as well as Fossil Southie for his extra energy regen. The other heroes, we went with Fleet for the extra speed. We picked up Arc Jess for her strike cost, which basically lowers the cost of your antibacterial charge, and Flash AC for his phase shift cooldown decrease ability. Now, these builds are, of course, not the only way to do it. I'm sure there are other versions out there, but we are trying to keep things simple and maximize your tickets for right now. Of course, the primary roles of each person with the 3 diecast Jonesies is going to be to focus on destroying all of the monoliths and collecting urns as you go through each maze. The Recon Scout is going to be your runner, whose primary job it is to collect the Shadow Key, as well as make it to the door, maybe hitting a few urns along the way if needed, but ideally just trying to get through each level as quickly as possible. Now, make no mistake about it, the runner is the most important person in this entire setup. They should be the most experienced person on the team. They need to know the dungeon like the back of their hands. Don't worry, after about 5 to 10 runs, you will too. I caught on very quick after doing this a couple times. Now, couple things to keep in mind while making your way through the dungeons. Traps and monoliths are what I would call semi-RNG. What I mean by that is that they vary what you get where. But the spawn locations are almost always the same. So after a few runs, you'll start to be able to anticipate kind of where everything's going to be at. The goal for your diecast Jonesy should be basically as a team to get about 30 urns per floor. And then basically head into the final floor with no more than 10 urns needed. Ideally, you wouldn't need any by that point, but no more than 10. Now, also do keep in mind that you do need to get some damage on the mini boss at the end to get access to the bonus tickets, which I'll explain more about in just a second. Couple things too, don't bother with the bosses that you do find along the way. I know it's going to be tempting, but your goal is to speed through the dungeon as fast as possible. And as you can see in the video, we're not stopping for anything, to kill anything. The only thing that gets killed are husks that kind of get killed by our minigun by accident, but we're certainly not going after anything. Now, there are a few advanced strategies kind of once you start running these on a regular basis that you'll be able to use, like lava bounces and teleporters to gain extra tickets. But this guide is kind of meant to cover the basics for now. So let's first, I guess, break down the math on how you're going to get to 3,000 tickets per hour. Now, keep in mind that the run itself is going to give you 144 tickets. You will also get 100 tickets whenever you do smash 100 urns per run. So we're going to get 244 tickets for each and every run. Each run is going to take approximately 5 minutes once you're a little more experienced at it. So that's 12 runs per hour, giving you 2,928 tickets per hour just here. But keep in mind, I did tell you earlier that we're going to talk about bonus tickets. So what bonus tickets are is you will also be able to get an additional 150 tickets for every 5 mini bosses that you do kill. Now, you don't actually have to kill the mini boss like I talked about earlier. You do need to tag it. So you're going to want to make sure that you at least get a tag on it. So we'll round that down to approximately an additional 300 tickets per hour off of mini bosses, bringing you well over the 3,000 tickets per hour that we talked about earlier. Now, that's not all you're going to get, though. Keep in mind that you're also going to be getting additional rewards as you go through the mission. So on the 88 power level missions, you're also going to be getting either 74 reperk, 58 legendary perk up, or 55 epic perk up on each and every run. Now, I know that may not seem like a lot, but every little bit does start to add up after you're doing this a lot. And keep in mind, this is on top of the tickets, like the whole reason that you're here running these to begin with. So it definitely does add up. Now, as you can see, these do assume a couple things as we go through them, okay? I'm just going to be 100% transparent with you guys. First and foremost, you have to have a full party. Less than that is going to start impacting the number of tickets that you get. Secondly, it's assuming that you're running them just back to back to back to back. Any break is obviously going to slow down your tickets, and so will features like failed to lock profile, which of course does happen from time to time with dungeons, unfortunately. Now, as you can see in the video, we are just running through them. And with the 3 runs that we did, you know, we averaged about 4 minutes and 42 seconds, even with me being a noob, which is crazy when you think about it. So if you can imagine, after you do this a couple times, you're certainly going to be getting your dungeon times down really far. As a matter of fact, you might even think, you know, about trying to do the 100 level dungeons just to get extra tickets, but you won't necessarily need to. Now, if you are planning on doing the 140 dungeons, there is a couple changes you're going to probably need to make to the builds. First and foremost, you're going to need to add some survivability in there. I would recommend taking out Fleetfoot and putting in a survivalist. Also, with your gadgets, you're probably going to want to take out the turrets and put in Adrenaline Rush, or take out the slow field. Keep in mind that only one person really needs to slow field the mini boss at the end. So, you know, not everybody needs to be running slow field at the end of the day. Now, I do know that I did cover all of the stuff in here extremely quickly, but it really is quite simple once you start running them. Now, if you still need more help, or you want to try to find a team to run dungeons with, you can always check out the Discord server. I'll go ahead and leave a link to my Discord in the video description down below. But guys, that's about it for me. I do want to thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you do leave a like on the video if you did like it, and consider subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications so that you know when my videos go live for you. I'm sure there are many other strategies out there, and if you know of any, feel free to drop them in the comments below, or come hang out over on Twitch. Again, the link is in the description. And as always, be good.